It's 11:59 at Radio Free America, and this is Uncle Sam with music and the truth until dawn. Right now, I got a few words for some of our brothers and sisters in the occupied zone. The chair is against the wall. The chair is against the wall. John has a long mustache. John has a long mustache. It's 12 o'clock, Americans, another day closer to victory. And for all of you out there on or behind the lines, this is your song.
There we go. Welcome everybody to our daily gun show. On Fridays we go live to wrap up the week, what's been going on with the Second Amendment. Our goal is to take a bunch of stuff that happened throughout the week and summarize it at the end of the week for anybody that's too busy or just not interested in having to do that yourself. However, this week I dropped the ball a bit. I'm trying to type in here, how's the audio? We got our co-host today for a little while. He's very warm, so he'll be jumping out of here pretty soon. Lay on the concrete again. I would feed him, but I'm almost out of... Oh, no, guess what? I am out of food here, which is a good food from Zesty Paws. I highly recommend it. They really like it. He's bored a bit. But they're actually about to get paid to do some dog puppy reviews of some new food. See, I had to buy this food, but they got some in the mail today that's free. So essentially my dogs are eating for free. They were making their own money. So we're going to give Bacon Bit a Zesty Paws treat. Now, he doesn't like eating these, but he will eat it because, he's a good sport for the show. So I'm going to put it here and urge him, if you're at home and you can give him some encouragement, maybe he'll eat this little kibble biscuit. Oh, look, we got him to eat the kibble biscuit. And then we'll give the other one here to Mello. Is it possible to get down here? Get a shot of the girl eating another thing. There we go. All right. So welcome, everybody. And now the co-host and our female friend over here have gotten their last couple of biscuits. There's literally biscuit dust in this one. But like I say, today they got two cans of biscuits, like two kind of tins of biscuits, and some kind of a bag of biscuits. So thank you to, I didn't bring it inside. So thank you to that company. I'll be doing some videos on it. This guy will be starring in them. And so will Mello. He's about to get sick of it. Just touching his head, he's all warm. He wants to get down on the floor. Anyway, I figured I'd bring him up for the beginning of the show. Welcome to everybody who's joining us live. Guns and Waters out there. Started the show up before we even got going. I wasn't listening to Gizzard at the end there, so I just assumed he was quarking. Wood says they look forward to the biscuit review. I wonder if there's some way I could put some of those biscuits in a tube and send that tube your way. I think that could be arranged. All right, so we'll get rid of him. Nobody wants to look at this dog on screen all the time. In fact, I've been told by people that make more money than me that you shouldn't even have a dog on a Second Amendment show. In fact, I've been lectured at a national level event about this. Hey, what are you doing? Look, sniffing my phones. Why would my dogs be sniffing my phones? Hey, there's no food under that phone. So here's the deal. I didn't prepare the show as much as I do sometimes. I'm about to put him down because he's already not happy. He's about to start making noises, being a jerk. He's now got his biscuit, so he's happy. Give him a bunch of kisses. Now get down. Get down. Go down. All right. He'll leave us alone for a little while. I didn't have a chance to fancy it all up this week, so what we've got is the NSSF Government Relations newsletter that comes out on Fridays, which as you can see, it's super long. They just summarize a bunch of articles, but they're good articles usually, and they're paying attention. They're not just hyping stuff up for the hype usually. So we'll take a look at that, and then we'll just take a look at my history. So if you go to YouTube and you click on this hamburger menu on the top left, at least for those of us using not Macintoshes. And then you click on history from that menu that appears. That's what we're looking at. The videos that essentially I've watched this week or whatever. I did start to do this show earlier in the week, but then I just got busy doing stuff. It's super hot, and I'm going to blame the heat. I'll also blame the hurricane somehow, and I'll blame Alex Baldwin. So all those reasons, it's not my fault that the show didn't get put together in our typical level of sophistication and awesomeness. Oh my goodness. I can get this in there. There we go. So where don't we start off with the Second Amendment stuff first? Hold on. Can you hear that cricket? That cricket's super distracting to me. So it's driving me nuts. It somehow got into my back shed. So it lives out there and I have to figure out how to get to it and kill it. Dogs belong on gun shows. I agree. That's a good hashtag. All right, so we're taking a look at the NSSF government relations. This is a newsletter that anybody can sign up for. NSSF actually does quite a few newsletters on the regular. Some of them are industry. This one is sort of industry, and then how it, government relations, like it says. All right, so it starts off with Biden withdrawn his request for a new trial. I don't care. So something about Biden's kid happened. Supreme Court strikes a major blow to the administrative state. So first I look down and see, okay, this is somebody from NSSF and talking on their blog. So this might be worth looking at because sometimes they just cite some blogger who's out there, and depending on who it is, heck. Oh, they might be out of water now. Oh, they want to drink water. They're talking about the end of Chevron. And although Chevron has more to do with the Supreme Court giving deference or giving the, what do they call that? The, given benefit of the doubt to the legislative department of government. That's what Chevron had been doing since 1984. Essentially, I think some oil thing where they said, well, they're doing something to harm the environment. And who knows about the environment? The government. So assume that anyone in the government just knows, is the expert here. And if they say it's a bad thing, then it must be a bad thing. And somehow that became kind of the case for a couple of decades now. So essentially the Supreme Court went, you know what? No. How about that's not the case? Just because the Department of Government that's in charge of this does not make them does not make them the experts. So it's going to affect firearms in ways because it's going to neuter or change the way that the government's been used for political reasons. Somebody has a reason to do something, so they use some government agency to enforce that or to fiddle with their adversaries. It should remove some of that. At least the power to do some of that. So it's not like you snap your fingers and things change, but at least the justification that a lot of that stuff was built on has been removed. So now we'll see some of that removed. So then they took, I don't know if they're going to talk about it, so I'll just stick with that. So it looks like that's an explanation of that. NSSF demands Department of Justice update on FFL employees' NICS screening access. NSSF sent a letter to what's-his-face demanding answers regarding a key supported provision in the Bipartisan Safers Community Act that both parties signed into law in 2022, which allowed importers, manufacturers, and dealers to access the FBI NICS to voluntarily screen current and prospective employees to determine whether they're prohibited persons. And despite Congress explicitly directing the D-N.J to create the rules for this within 90 days, it's now been over 2 years, and this tool has yet to be made available. I don't want any part of the Buy Safer Community, the Buy Safer Communities Act. That's what I'm calling it. I don't want any part of that to be affecting anything. So let's get rid of that act as we get rid of some of the others, and then not have a law for that, but just create that department or that mechanism if they want it so bad. Mexico urges the Supreme Court to allow a $10 billion lawsuit against the manufacturers. Wasn't that nice? So Mexico requested our Supreme Court allow that lawsuit to continue to move through the lower courts. And is there a result? No. So I don't know what the result of that one is. Then we get to the federal news. U.S. Appropriations Committee clears remaining 6 funding bills. So I guess 6 funding bills for fiscal year 2025, which carry several priorities that the NSSF cares about. You want to see, I'm reading through a bunch of this because there's a whole bunch of this. So whenever you see BIS, Bureau of Industry and Security, that's usually talking about import and export. In this case, guns are not being exported out of the country anymore. And since we make a lot of guns, that's affecting the firearms industry. And that's what US or NSSF is responsible for paying attention to that. So they're trying to make sure that people don't forget that. I think this has to do with Israel, right? Like Biden doesn't want people in Israel to have guns, so he's not allowing small arms to be sent to Israel or anywhere. That's because he can't prevent it from going to Israel, I guess. Or maybe he can. He just decided to stop it being promoted or exported, period. And I'm trying to read through this. So, and they're mad about that, and they're making a point of it. Then we get to congressional disapproval on that same thing. So NSSF is complaining, and now Congress is complaining. Now we get to the slim down Republican Party platform makes glancing mention of Second Amendment. I saw some videos about this, but I didn't watch any of the videos. I just seen the titles, so I don't know if anybody's paid attention to this one or if anybody's making a real focused insight on this one. But I guess the convention kicks off next week in Milwaukee, which is anti-gun. A key swing state for Trump. I could care less. Would like to win on his path. Of course, he wants to win. Blah, blah, blah. GOP released its 16-page platform. The Second Amendment received a tip of the hat in one of the 20 key policy planks. Although the platform, some writer wrote, while the platform does not directly address the growing series of constitutionally suspect anti-gun rules put forward by federal regulators at the behest of the White House in the past 3 years, which means Republicans, or even mention of the Second Amendment or guns directly, it does at least include the right to keep and bear arms in its 20th or in its 7th of 20 key points. So is that contradictory? Because it says right here, slim down. Oh, no, okay. This one says makes glancing mention. All right, so they're not jumping all over firearms because firearms are a non-issue. So why would they bring up something that nobody cares about on the other side? They're going to probably do things that are the most important for people, like the economy, international wars, and that kind of stuff, the international border. And then the president promoted his previous appointment of nearly 300 federal judges to interpret the Constitution. What is all this? I don't know what all that's saying. Right part about the committee's approach. So I don't know if anybody's got any good insight on that one, but this is already contrary to some of the clickbait titles I saw out there. All right, next we get Senator Kramer introduces legislation to allow interstate firearm sales. So Kramer, Republican in North Dakota, is that what that means? Introduced Senate Bill 4652, the Firearms Interstate Commerce Reform Act, FICRA, to modernize and streamline legal framework governing interstate firearms transactions. Introduced a companion measure. The legislation seeks to expand interstate firearms. Now, here's the only thing you can do is take an eraser. I don't want you to write nothing. Go write nothing. you have to have a name for this. Call it we're going to erase a bunch of prohibitions, because that's all they need to do. They don't have to seek to expand firearms transactions. They have to reduce limitations on them. Implement permit dealer flexibility. Remove the requirement to have dealers in the process. If manufacturers want to work with dealers, fine. If dealers get some kind of rate because they're buying a bunch, great. But remove the licensing restriction, or the requirement, I guess. Redefine the residency definition for armed forces and federal employees. So why do they get special attention? There aren't other transient employees out there, transient folks. What if you live on in a van or live in a camper? So quit being elitist. And ensure firearms. So in other words, get rid of the laws, because then it's not elitist. You just get rid of the laws, and the lack of laws creates peace. Let's see. Then ensure firearms transactions adhere to law while complying with state laws and regulations. Remove all those state laws and regulations. Then we're good. I don't know if I like this one. So this common sense legislation that would comply with state laws and regulations. Wait. Common sense legislation that would allow law-abiding Americans to purchase firearms of their choosing while ensuring state and federal laws are enforced. Thanks, Kramer. But I think I'd rather see something else be done. Like, let's get rid of the NFA. Let's somehow create an awareness that these laws are stupid. Don't fight laws with more laws. If you have a different opinion on that, I encourage you to make a video about it. You can leave a reply to this video, I don't care. But make a video about it and put something out there, post in your community tab, get some conversation going with people. We're better off if we're talking about these things than observing a blogist or two, some kind of writer. All right, so next, voter survey shows Surgeon General out of step declaring gun public health crisis. Let's see who wrote this. Read the full analysis by somebody of NSSF polling data. Okay, so maybe NSSF wrote this. The U.S. Surgeon General, whatever his name is, recent declaration that gun violence is a public health crisis. 2/3 polled think it's a criminal justice issue. That's weird. And then, in other words, they see right through this election year announcement. I saw a better rebuttal this over on X. I don't remember who it was, but somebody made a much better thing talking about how this guy got his job, got appointed by saying he's not going to weaponize the position. And here he is weaponizing the position. This is an interesting take, but not my take to counter his suggestion. Oh, stuff. I'm losing auctions over here. Hold on. Good. I won the one I wanted. I didn't. What did I miss? I got that one. Good. What did I just lose? I just lost. Would you buy a turntable? Should I buy a 24-inch motorized turntable? It's for like when you make a video of something, it'll slowly turn the item in front of the camera so you don't have to move the camera. So it's like a Lazy Susan with a robot inside of it. But it's a really expensive one. Missing some parts, but it's a really expensive one, and I just lost it right now. I got about 4 minutes to make the decision. Right on. I think I finally got one of my white whales, though. I got what I wanted, but it's got the wrong picture. Got it for a couple of bucks, so I'm happy about that. Unless I get what's in the picture, then I'm screwed. But the description is what I want. The picture is some candlesticks or some stupid thing. So I might have bought some expensive candlesticks, or I might have got what I wanted cheap. But I'm about to get another thing here for 30 seconds, so we're going to take a second and play a quick commercial while I watch this auction end. It's got to go. Hold on. I'm going to read your comments here in a second. I'm just totally distracted. I'm going to play a commercial for... Here's a new commercial. All right, I got it. All right, so now I can be less distracted. I still haven't... I'm going to be maybe paying attention to that turntable. I don't know. I don't really need it, but I kind of want it. What else am I missing? Let me just quickly look at the rest of my auctions. Anything else tonight I don't care about. It's all a bonus at this point. The last thing I really cared about was that mismanagement. So I probably shouldn't have played that. I haven't gotten the okay from She Fires yet, but what'd you think? Let me give me some feedback on the She Fires commercial. Let's see. Good for Kramer. This guy. He's got to go for what maybe will pass. Is that what you're saying? This Kramer guy? I'm just saying, if we've got X amount of time, X amount of resources, X amount of people's attention, I think I'd just rather see a different play get made. I don't know how to say it with sports. If you can only make so many plays in a game or something, I'd just rather see a different strategy play out than, let's comply. Let's comply over here. Make it easy for us to comply, please. I don't like that shit. Tear it all down. Let's see. So then this guy is essentially doing the bullshit thing that the executive branch has been playing around with a lot of times. They make the thing a health crisis because they own the doctors. Essentially, they appoint this guy. He goes in, says he's not going to use the office as a political thing, and now he's over here talking about it being a public health crisis. Ridiculous. I'm not saying what's realistic. I'm just saying I'd like to see the efforts be put that way so that it becomes more realistic because the Overton window starts moving. Let's see. Because I think of that as not, it's to some extent, it's almost allowing the Overton window to go the other way because it's making it normal where the Overton window is right now. You know what I mean? I'm still of the mind that hey, wait a minute, they moved the window over here. I'm not going to set down roots. I want the window to go back where it was, or even the other way. Then let's set down some roots. Anyway, so the next one up is state news. Anti-hunting group petition would ban cougar hunting in Colorado. Anti-hunting group Cats Ain't Trophies claims it is enough petition signatures for a Colorado ballot initiative to propose a ballot initiative to ban mountain lion and bobcat hunting. The organization submitted its petition for Initiative 91 with 188,000 signatures. It's interesting. Let's see. 30 days, blah, blah, blah. I mean, that's neat, but it's unrealistic because unless, there's nothing. Then all you're going to do there is make some government. You're going to make there's not even like you're going to hire government hunters. The government is just going to go to the hunters that would be hunting anyway and say, you can't hunt anymore. You can't pay for a hunting license to do this. But now that the cougars are out of control, we're going to pay you a bounty to go do it. So it's just kind of dumb. It's not really paying attention to the real issue. And it's some kind of feel-good freaking effort for anti-hunter people. Or maybe cat lovers, I guess. Maybe somebody doesn't know nothing about hunting, obviously, and they just care about cats, maybe. But, I like predators and stuff, but it is dumb to try to say you can't hunt the predators because they're still predators. They're going to eat stuff. And they eat people. They bite people and stuff. So, anyway, I guess they're going to complain about that. Oregon effort to ban all hunting, fishing, trapping, and ranching defeated for now. Oregon Initiative Petition number 3, which would ban all hunting. And what? That's a tough one. That's a weird one. The anti-hunting initiative was opposed by NSSF, really, and several other really. The initiative was attempted in 2022. I didn't even hear about it before. That is a weird initiative. What do they think is going to happen in a whole state? It is expected that anti-hunting activists will attempt the bans again in 2026. I don't even see like that's realistic. Like that's something that, why would you even talk about that? Because that's like saying, I want to ban milk or I don't know, something dumb. Like it's just, I don't even, why give credit to somebody who's trying to ban all hunting, ranching, and fishing? Like what do they want? Just critters falling out into the street, dying of weird diseases and shit? Like just makes no sense. So it almost seems like the sky is falling bullshit. Does it? Am I crazy? Or is that what's happening right now? We're seeing attention given to bullshit because they need to fill space? I don't know. don't want to accuse them of that because it's not what they normally do. But that seems like a dumbass thing to even shed light on. Because they're certainly not shedding light on every single thing that happens, right? This came onto the radar. They decided to shine light on it. I mean, it could be a slow news week, but that's the stuff I would bring up on the show. But this is the danger of us going through the list item by item. Again, this is the NSSF's government relations newsletter that comes out every Friday. I'll put a link to it right here if you're watching live. There's a link to it. You can just go look at it. It's not behind a paywall or anything. Pennsylvania, Sunday hunting prohibitions could soon end. That seems so weird. There's a whole bunch of states, I guess, that you can't hunt on Sunday. I mean, I could see it like on some Sundays, but no Sundays. Where'd that even come from? I guess maybe in the days when you would hunt for a living, so you hunted every single day, they'd say, hey, you got to take Sunday off once in a while, guy. But I don't get it. Why not say you can't hunt on Monday or something? Like, why make it a weekend? It just seems weird. Anyway, so I know. Has anyone noticed the spin now to blame hunters for the reason that Democrats keep winning stuff? Like, the hunters aren't voting for Republicans. That's an interesting take. I don't think I've ever seen that one before. It's not in NSSF. That's just something that's going on. I've seen it on Instagram mostly. Maybe I've seen it on X. All right, so I guess this is Hawaii, but this could be Tucson. This is the way buildings look in Tucson, and we have these trees all over the place. So I guess it's Hawaii, but literally that could be a picture of like our library or something. Like Tucson must have been built at the same time that Hawaii's buildings were built because we have the same architecture. Anyway, it says Hawaii's, dumbass word, rebuilding monarchy without Second Amendment. Hawaii, because I don't know why people say lawmakers, because they're representatives. Hawaii representatives rebuilding monarchy without Second Amendment. Hawaii might be the picture of paradise. This is another blog by somebody at NSSF. Beyond landscapes, though, there's a troubling trend by the state officials to write the Second Amendment freedoms out of the island state. Blah, 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 blah. Oh, okay. The U.S. Constitution is suggestion. This is old news, isn't it? Isn't this something that their senator said a while back? So I guess they're talking about because the governor signed a law that bans the sale of guns and ammunition to anybody under 21. I mean, that's bullshit, but monarchy without Second Amendment. All right. Let's see. We got this guy. Oh, this is the author of this article right here. And this is a government relations team profile. I think that's interesting to know who the people are that are creating the stuff that comes out every week. So it says it's this guy, Senior Director for Government Relations, State Affairs. He grew up in Colorado and his favorite activity is shooting, sporting clays, duck hunting, and upland hunting. He was introduced to these at a young age, who taught him the ropes and installed a deep appreciation for the sport. Let's see. Oh, I thought he was going to say something about golf, but he just says, imagine working for NSF, I guess, is akin to a golf fanatic having a chance to lobby for the PGA. I guess that makes sense. All right, so next we'll go to other news. Justice Sotomayor's bodyguard saved by 2A self-defense right that justice rejected. So this one, I don't know what they're citing here, or maybe they're just writing it, but I didn't pay attention. Something happened with her, right? Is he too fuddy? This guy? NSSF is kind of fuddish for sure. They're definitely like when they have their circles, their hunting group is going to, a lot of their circles touch the hunting group. So since hunting and FUDs tend to hang out next to each other, yeah, I think I know that some people would say, yeah, just from his profile and his bio or whatever is just his description there. But I don't. That's the first time I've heard of them. I don't pay attention to the people's names. I just mostly looked at the articles because a lot of times for this episode or this newsletter, they've pretty much written it all themselves. But half the time you're reading through this, at the end it'll say, this is somebody from I forget all the different, like gun.com or what's the other one? Ammoland. It'll just be citing some article that somebody else wrote, which sometimes it's good if I know who wrote it. I'm like, oh, okay, I know who this person is. They're good or they're bad or whatever. But sometimes it's like this guy. I've never heard of him before. All right. So complaining about injustice, I don't know. What are we going to do? People are going to do it. I think that's the end. So essentially that's the end of it. They just talk about themselves and whatever. So thanks to NSSF. I like almost everything you do, of course, except for Kid Safe, which I don't like. But thanks for sending it out every day or every Friday. And now they send it out earlier in the day. So if I was on top of my game this week, I would have been able to set this all up. I do a Friday morning kind of, I have a couple of meetings I have to go to on Friday mornings. So I would normally set all this stuff up like while I'm in those meetings, kind of, what do they call that? What's that called? Dang it, I can't even think what it's called. I'm tired. What do you call it when you're doing two things at once? Anyway, I didn't do it this day. I was doing other things this morning. All right. Let's see. Comes Waters out there. Oh, we're saying how many people are out here? Let me see. We have half the people on X tonight and half the people on the YouTube. And as we know, 0 people on X ever type in here. They're scared or unable or unwilling for sure. Is it belligerency? We don't know. Maybe they don't know how to type over there. Maybe it's all a bunch of bots. There's no way to know because they won't answer us. But half the people watching are on X. I don't mind broadcasting over there, but it's like broadcasting into an echo. What do they call that? Like not an echo chamber. Dang it, I'm getting tired. Anyway, like an abyss. Like you don't get anything back from it. All right, so we're getting into this page, which is my history, stuff that I watched this week. We go with this one is actually from a while ago. I was watching one of the Meet the Presser shows from this week. I guess I'll need this microphone right in my face. I watched this episode of Meet the Pressers, and they said that they talked to Tom Gibbons in an earlier episode, so I went back and looked for it, and I couldn't find it, so I think they're fake. But it said Steve Fisher and Mike somebody of USCCA, and I was like, Steve Fisher doesn't work for USCCA. What the fuck? And then I opened this, and there's some other fake Steve Fisher now. So I just thought that was interesting. So that's something from like 3 years ago or something. Let's see. It was on Yankees show with Matt the other day. Matt still hasn't given me the address for that motorcycle. So if you ever watch Matt's show, nag him to give me his address so I can send him this G.I. Joe motorcycle, or I'm going to sell the damn thing. Gizzard's over there with the new knife manufacturer that he's hanging out with. I guess I can make this all a lot bigger. If you don't know, Gizzard hangs out with a lot of knife people. So he's been reviewing some new knives over here for Kaiser. It's weird for me because I'm familiar with a Kaiser firearms manufacturer here in Arizona. So whenever you say Kaiser to me, I think of people I know here in Tucson. Well, I don't know where they're at right now, but they were in Tucson for a long time. Called Kaiser. All right, I think I got it. So it's filling up most of the screen now. Let's see. Christmas 740 was posting stuff from that trip to. I'm assuming it's from that trip to Iowa. Then this is Maj testifying someplace along with Lot and somebody else. I don't know. people back and forth on Maj. I don't know if this 2-minute rant didn't make all that much sense, honestly. So I'm not sure if it was clipped poorly or like out of context or whatever. But it's more like just a rant. Sorry, it's super hot, so I'm drinking a bunch of iced water. We got our Patriots always posting stuff from Reagan. This is probably a good one. Usually I watch them complete. Well, it's 55 minutes. There's no way I watch 55 minutes of it. But I do typically watch the 3-minute or less ones that Patriot posts. It usually gets pretty good, like apt, like pretty on topic things. 2018 called They Want Maj Back. I'm not sure what that means, but is he doing weird stuff now? Is Chris the best of Ohio? We had a lot of people in Ohio. Remember Pink? I don't know if anybody here, please raise your hand if you remember Pink. But a big chunk of Ohio is Pink Panther. And then, back in the olden days when we were building gun channels and stuff, you had Guru. That's Ohio. So gun channels was Arizona and Ohio. And two of us put it together. So half of gun channels was Ohio, really. Not Kingpin, but No, wait. No, I'm getting mixed up on who else is in Ohio. There's definitely other Ohioans, though. So to say Chris is the best, he's the most current one in Ohio right now. So talking about interesting, this was something that, let's see, I think it came on after I was watching something else. I'm not the biggest fan of Ironclad. And so I watched the stuff, but one of the reasons I'm not the biggest fan of it is their weird ass editing. So they'll just abruptly end. They abruptly start for sure. They do some weird, they just don't have a lot of flair with their editing. So it's actually pretty tough to pay attention to because it flips so quickly. So I think what happened is I was watching something else and then this came up. And in here somewhere, this guy says something to the effect of, and I like listening to his shit. I like his style, but I'm on the fence with the dude himself. But he says something in here, which is, what's the word? Anyway, he's essentially saying, training is great for people that need it, or training is great for people that appreciate it, but the people that just show up and do it for a good time, blah, blah, blah. So sometimes it just takes people being around for a minute to figure out that everybody has a right to do what the fuck they want. But some people are really stuck in it where, like, you have to have been there and you've had to have done that. And then he was really putting out that he was given, you got to be there and done that type of vet bro in this 8-minute thing. So whatever, I was leaning with this guy, a couple of big pieces of weight over towards the I'm going to quit paying attention to this guy. You got to give these guys, they have a lot of reach and they have a lot of potential, but if they're closed-minded about some stuff and they just are elitist, I guess, is this probably the word, then you can't make somebody not be elitist, right? You can let them know that they're not focused on the right shit, but in the end, they're going to do what they're going to do, right? So I'm not sure. I'm not writing them off, but I'll probably pay less attention to this guy going forward. Let me know if I'm wrong on that one. If you listen to that, maybe get a different vibe from it. Gizzard had his chat. I thought this was pretty cool with the thumbnail using everybody's thing. We did this kind of stuff on gun channels back in the day quite a bit. I don't know if he's doing it from that era or if he's just doing it because it's a cool thing to do. Woods is saying, I hate that top-down mentality. If you have it, you're not good. Screw that. You don't know me. Well, and also, who the fuck decided that there's this barrier to entry that you've had to have some kind of life experience in order to XYZ? Like, it's like telling somebody, unless you plan on being in a band, you'd have no business owning a guitar. Well, sorry, fucking comrade. If I feel like spending my ruples on a guitar and I don't want to be in a band, I'm going to own a shit ton of guitars that are going to get dusty because I'm looking at them. You don't question that person, so who cares if they put on some armor and they want to emulate a movie or what they've seen in a video game, or they just want to go shoot and they like shooting to cadence instead of shooting to, do stuff for what they got paid to do a long time ago. Yeah, I hear you. I think we're on the same path there, but for more than one reason, like screw that guy. Let's see. What is it saying? Okay, I'm too tired, I think, to try to read what that's saying. I didn't listen to this one yet. So maybe this one happened and that's what went into the other one, but I haven't listened to this one, or else it's old maybe. But the strange story of Guinea-Bissau. Oh, wait, hold on. Did I watch this one? What happened? How do I get to... Oh, man, I did it in a dumb way.
How to open your car door while submerged underwater.
Don't. Trick question. That's how the sharks get you. Just drive out from under the water. Oh, no, I did watch this one, but is it new? 2 days ago. Okay, I guess I did watch this one. It's interesting. Like I say, he has great stuff, but I shouldn't say great. He has interesting stuff. Carly, right? Ed. Dang, why can't I think of Ed's name? Ed's manifesto, though, has way better stuff, especially when he has Demolder on there. But anyway, this one was still interesting, talking about the cocaine portion of the trafficking of drugs through Mexico. There's been eras of it, and the cocaine era was after opium and after marijuana and before meth and before fentanyl. All right, so then we get to Rapid Fire Radio. Had their Wednesday show. They had Penn Patriot on talking about New Jersey and issues going on there. John Petrolino. Then we had another one for Patriot. Let's see, the Reagan talking in 1985. Let's see, then we have Mark Smith guy talking about Sotomayor. So Tony was out there talking shit about Sonny the other day. And I don't think he has a problem with Sonny. I just think he was using Sonny as an example because Sonny doesn't give a shit. But I really like Sonny. He's a Spetsnaz guy. And started sharing Sistema, which is the martial art kind of factor of the Spetsnaz. Their martial arts are way different than ours. Their training is way different than ours. It's way different back in the Soviet times. Like we would think of it as like gymnastics or something, I think. Have you ever seen the movie Gymkata? That's what it looked like when I've experienced of Russian military training. Not just special operations, but just all their military training is way more athletic than us, and it's way more you're rolling around and you're doing like crawling over, like they're just way more athletic and whatever that is. Like they roll around and do calisthenics. What is that called? I think it's just called gymnastics. They're always rolling and tumbling, and anyway, so they're way more used to getting up from being on the ground and way more used to kind of spinning around and jumping and falling over stuff, and they're just more used to that. So when you look at them doing some of the stuff from the videos back in the, when were those? Probably I don't think it was the 90s, probably the 2000s. It looks kind of goofy, but at the time it was showing the stark differences between what we got going on over here and what we got going on over there. But it was also high-end special operations type of shit, and their special operations are different than ours. We go out and help people. We go out and essentially do stuff that emulates what happened in World War II. we go back and try to help people who are fighting off, the Nazis or whatever they are, to defend themselves as a community or whatever. And Spetsnaz will go in and just take out a bunch of people, like kill a bunch of people or do stuff. And they just had a different rules of engagement. So anyway, so Tony put out a thing that is kind of weird looking. But if you watch what he was talking about in that video, because I have that video, we could watch that video if somebody wants sometime. But that's a Sistema video. And that's more like, yeah, if you're the last guy on the ground and you're getting swarmed, like here's a way to do like a way to get the hell out of Dodge. So, yeah, taken out of context looks all goofy. And it's sort of an aside and a whole list of other stuff that happens in a whole video. But anyway, there's other stuff that Sonny's been around for. And he's gotten through all of it. Shit, he's this fucking Spetsnaz guy. He watched the fall of the Soviet Union. Now he's over here teaching us. So as a citizen. So anyway, he did this whatever self-reliance festival, and this is a section of that training event, I guess, for like preppers, it seems like. And his conversation, how long is it, 30 minutes, is about conflict management. It's really good. You got to get used to a Russian guy swearing and being weird, but super good. I really thought it was good. The whole idea of the ultimate warrior just doesn't get any fights anymore. And it's not because he's so tough or so good at it. He just is good at not getting into fights anymore. He doesn't have nothing to prove, and he's not getting into fights anymore. Like, boom, you win all your fights if you don't get in them. Anyway, so I thought that was pretty good, and it's kind of timely. He puts out stuff on the regular, but I just noticed it right after Tony was posting the thing about him spinning around. I don't know how many people out there have seen the thing about what Tony posted. Crumpus and Sistema is bullshitio. Yeah, you can say what you want. Go fight somebody using Sistema. They existed. They would tend to differ with you. We could have used that on Gizzard. Nice. Oh, when you're talking about what's his face? Let's see. So next we get to Maj talking about, I don't know what this event was, but somebody had a Maj special where you get a 40 and an empty threat from the bartender. So I don't know what that's all about, but yeah, that would. I think he showed some class just responding to it, putting it out there. He didn't really say who it was, so I didn't dig into it to give a shit who it was, but it is interesting that there's people out there that would, one, even bother to do something like this, and then two, do it. Because what the fuck? Is it who thinks they're going to do something like this and it ain't going to get back to him or to the rest of the internet? So, seems pretty fucking weird to me. The conflict management. Well played. Well played. You know what? To sum it up, I think he wouldn't care. I mean, it's a 30-minute video, and it is worth watching because you get a pretty good taste of how Sonny is. But he sums it up by saying, own the conversation. So, a lot of times he's using the scenario of somebody's in a bar and there's a drunk who's coming up and trying to start a fight with you. And, it's very little you can do to physically overpower somebody, especially if there's a group of them, right? And if you know what's going on, you're never going to win in that situation. So it's as simple in his case as his option. He's summarizing a lecture that he would normally do that's longer, but essentially the extract of it was dominate the conversation, or like at least lead the direction of the conversation, like be in control of the conversation, because the other person's going to be aggressive, but they're probably not going to be 100%, have all their wits about them. So by understanding that you can take the conversation in the direction you want, you can accomplish that through questioning. So, hey, how are you doing today? Like, the guy wants to fight with you, but you can, by de-escalating, obviously, or, your goal is to de-escalate, start asking questions to divert and to, again, so that you can kind of control where the thing's going, no matter what the response are. Just keep questions coming. And I thought that was a pretty interesting suggestion. That's, I guess, what you said. Like I said, there's more to it, obviously. So it's worth watching it. Ghost had his show on Tuesday, but so did Gun and Gear. They do it at the same time, so you pretty much have to watch those at the same time. This one I didn't watch. It's actually on at the same time also, and I think I watched a chunk of it, but then I never went back and watched it, so I'll have to go back and watch that one. And then I think they had Andy on this morning or this afternoon right before Gizzard. I was out doing stuff, so I didn't see anything today. Let's see. So we normally talk about our stuff at the end of the show, but we're basically talking about Tuesday at this point. So I did a thing on 2A sister states. I guess sister states isn't a way to say it because Foss talked about the first sister states, and I think that is when the cities, I guess sister cities. That's when two places have the same name usually, like Paris, France and Paris, Italy or something. Like they'll become sister cities and, they have that in common. So maybe I could have picked a better name or something, but I really don't care about the name. I'm just trying to get the concept out there that we have a lot of people who are sitting around watching what goes on, quote unquote, behind enemy lines. What the fuck? They're not in the zoo. Like we're not, spectators. We're allowed to participate. And why not have something that at least creates some sort of an organized effort to make that effective, to make it useful, right? To make it efficient. So that was the goal. Nobody showed up. It was kind of shitty, but whatever. I'm not getting huge audiences to do this kind of stuff yet. But we've done that kind of stuff before, and I'm interested in doing it again. I don't think we have to be satisfied with what the national level organizations that bring in multi-millions of dollars every year, what they decide to do. Oh, I hate the NRA. I hate the NRA. Let's do exactly what the NRA does. Yeah, okay. Anyway, so then we got Toby on Sunday doing his show. I must have watched it, so I guess you know what? I don't know if I did watch it. I think I didn't. I think I was watching it because I was putting together this show on Tuesday. So this is probably when I put together, or the last time I put together this show. That's why I was saying sometimes two close cities are called. Yeah, like when they're across the river from each other or something like that. Let's see. Then Walk Talk America, Shattering Stigmas. I think this was a replay of something. Then we had Riding Shotgun with Charlie, had Jake on. Now that's from SHOT Show, but Charlie's been putting these things out on a scheduled basis, which is definitely the way to do it. It was worth listening to. I posted a clip from it. How do I get to my clips? I guess if I were to open up my channel and then drag that tab over here. Okay, and then drag that, come on, man. And then drag that tab over here. And then click on that hamburger thing again, and then you can go down to your clips. And it's kind of like a playlist of everything, every clip that you've ever made. So these are all the different clips I've made of other people's shows. And this is the one from Jake. Oops.
For this this yield theory concept, you've got visuals out your window. I'm seeing. All right, this car is a perfect metaphor for this this yield theory concept. You've got visuals out your window. I'm seeing stuff out my window. Yeah. And if you say, "Man, it's really ugly over here," I go, and I'm looking over here. I'm like, I don't see anything ugly at all. It's my worldview. I have to look through your lens out your window and go, you know what? You're right. It is pretty ugly over there. I have to align with you enough to go. Do you trust me? Looking. Yeah, it's not that great.
I thought that was a pretty good illustration of that concept. Probably could have gone through a couple of those other clips, actually. So I think that was worth listening to. It's like an hour. Let's see. Then we had Mike drop. So Mike is a SEAL who's a dog handler, and now he runs this place out of Dallas, or north of Dallas, I think. Somewhere near Dallas. Maybe he's down by Waco. I don't know. Somewhere in Texas. And he's got a retirement home, I guess, for war dogs. So he was a dog handler in the SEALs, And then when he got out, he started helping find homes for military dogs with former operators, so that it kind of accomplishes the continued bond, but also the therapy and the healing to both the dog and the human. So pretty cool dude. His interviews are almost always, in fact, they are all pretty much now always in his studio at the place in Dallas. So it means that the guests came to him, and usually that he has a better bond because they've hung out and they've ate and they've done stuff and they're sitting in a comfortable place and everything. So it lends itself to a good conversation. This is a 3-hour and 41-minute conversation. So I've listened to quite a few interviews with Shrek, or Sheriff of Baghdad, or whatever you want to call John McAfee. But, or McPhee. You never hear him say his name, or I don't remember him saying his name. But essentially, this was awesome because Mike had also listened to all these other interviews and didn't ask him the same questions. So they actually did a really, really fun interview. It's 4 hours long. Anytime you hear Shrek talk about stuff, it's good. So definitely worth listening to. I got a knife from Ukraine. Gizzard isn't the only one that's in with all the knife companies, and I'm in with the knife company in Ukraine now. And they sent me this thing. Really cool knife. It's kind of like a Mora on steroids. It's something like between a Mora and a K-bar. It's made for an outdoor knife, though. But really well made. Really like it. Kind of good shape, too. Roll Call posted a mail call video the other day. Always cool to see people doing that. Mail call Mondays. Yankee found a little rabbit because one of his dogs ate a bunch of rabbits. Let's see. Then we had Costly Conversations. I didn't listen to the whole thing. Let's see. This was a pretty good wrap-up of the Loper Bright. One of the court cases that I don't know if it's been touched by other people out there, but I always like listening to Forge of Freedom out of Indiana. They're not chasing anything. They're just trying to be fill in blanks and try to be useful. Focus on the things that not everybody's focusing on, while doing some other stuff along the way. They've also got their own plans, so sort of like every other episode. Actually, there's a couple episodes a week, and one of those series is kind of keeping up with what comes, but the other one is kind of getting some stuff accomplished. I like that. Let's see, was that this week? So I guess I was listening to this one. Was that this week? This guy goes to Asia, and he starts looking for a giant meth factory. I think that's this one. He never actually finds it, but he gets pretty close to finding some of these giant meth factories. We might have talked about that one last week already. I got this little shooting bag, so I guess I posted that on the Gear channel. This was a repost of an old interview with Hornberger on Forge of Freedom. Tony and I chatted for 3 hours plus on Saturday. So if you like listening to two people that have been around guns for a while, pretty much roll up our sleeves and just chat about shit because nobody's sponsoring the show. Nobody's going to get offended if we say stuff. People either listen or they don't, but people do tend to listen to that show. I don't know if it's my most popular show. It's definitely me and Tony's most popular show together. Let's see. Then conversation again about a case that I don't know if people are talking about, Jimmy Lai, a guy who is from Hong Kong and is dealing with being in jail, even though he was super kind of famous and rich. Professor Yamane was on with Meet the Pressers, with the kind of joint show with Rain Shotgun with Charlie and Meet the Pressers that they do. This must have been, was this Saturday? This is all Saturday, I guess. I was probably listening to the long version of W2, S2 Underground, I should say. And this guy was some kind of intel or communications in the military probably, or else really likes that stuff. So he does a pretty effective breakdown of all the international level issues that are going on that may or may not be talked about in the news. I never watch the news, but this is way more useful and informative than some of the people that just catch on to the headlines and then chat them up all week. The headline that's going to be the juiciest. S2 does a lot more than that, but it's also a radio and a communications channel. So they do a ghost net, a scheduled regular connection with people using radios, and there's like a procedure and stuff. So for folks that really want to get serious about having a way to communicate with people if anything crazy ever happens, you don't that doesn't happen after everything falls apart. You get in the habit of doing that stuff before. So anybody that's in ham radio understands the idea of a get together at a certain time of the week, or sometimes daily, but this one happens to be, is it daily? I know it's weekly, but essentially everybody knows, okay, at such and such a time, we're all going to go online and we're all going to have this procedure to touch base and see what's up. And essentially it's sort of like taking roll call and then news of the day, bottom line up front, and then time at the end for people to chat. But essentially it gets everybody together, make sure everybody's still there. And they do that already. Like they've got people who are interested in doing that and from all over the world do that. I got Dragon Man posting videos, having an awesome time with his new garage, and filling it up with vehicles and talking about what he's going to be doing with it. He's on his way to 75 hot rods now. Michael Cargill was on with American Armed and Free, so I've replayed that. I might have talked about that one last week, but essentially I just turned it on, listening to Charles's website, and I shut up and turned the mic on and just let it play his channel. And I think this all is from, oh no, wait, maybe not. The court cases came down, so Mark Smith did a reaction to them. I'd say it's probably my second most useful one out there. He takes a long time to get to everything, but he's getting better at just getting the information out there. She Fires hosts a chat on Sunday afternoons, and this week they were talking about add-ons to a rifle. That's one of those things that's it's trending. It's like it's cyclical. It's hard to say. Like it's if you ever had to use a sling for some line of work, occupation, or for some reason, then you put a sling on your rifle. But if you've never had a sling on your rifle, you can't imagine why you'd want a big piece of fabric getting in the way of everything all the time, because you'd think it was always in the way all the time. And it kind of is. But so what people think is right, or what people think is the way to do it, or who they're trying to emulate, changes constantly. So I didn't say too much on this one. I watched it. It is interesting. She Fires hosts a great show because people are new and are, able to have new questions. It's not like sometimes you get a bunch of people together with experienced folks, and then the new person asks a question, it gets dismissed, ignored, or kind of briefly discussed. But when it's a bunch of new people with a couple of medium people in there, then, stuff gets thrashed out. And again, this isn't the first time people have had these discussions. So being a fly on the wall and watching these discussions happen over and over and over again over time, it's kind of interesting to see. I don't want to call it development, just the trends and the cycles. It's kind of doesn't go anywhere, just spins off. People can't figure out a sling, why you'd ever want one. They put one on there and they're like, oh, I get it now. And then they might shoot in a different way, standing or kneeling or something. And then they're like, oh, now I understand completely why there's a sling. But then maybe they have to carry their gun for any length of time. And now they're like, oh, I totally understand another reason why you'd have a sling. And from that point on, the person understands that a sling might be the most important accessory. But if you've never carried a gun, if you've never shot standing, what do you care about a sling? It just seems like a piece of fabric on there. So it's infinitely interesting to watch people who are open and willing to have conversations. I think the Georgia shooting crew does a great job of that. I don't know if they have a lot of new people showing up. It's probably like a minority of new people, where some of these other shows are mostly new people with a couple of quote unquote experienced people chiming in, right? Let's see. So then we get to an interesting one. I didn't even know Fudbusters was still doing a thing, but evidently he's still doing This Week in Guns. I think it might happen right when he's corking me right now, in which case that's messed up. But he does something called This Week in Guns, instead of the 2A weekly wrap up. So technically he's a lawyer. He probably figured out some lawyer way to not be copying me. And they basically sit around being a Reddit version of what we do. Like, I'm a normal version. That's the Reddit version. So you have to take it. You do have to take it, but you have to listen to all their weird Reddit stuff. And I don't know, it's probably some of the best insight, the most interesting insight. I don't know if it's the best, but the most interesting insight to some of the stuff that's happening. Plus, the only focus on certain things that are happening. Crump's out there. He probably knows what I'm talking about. Like, there's certain things that people ain't going to talk about for whatever reason. So this guy's talking about it. He alluded to some gossipy shit that like I said, I didn't even know he was still out there. But I know I don't know, keep track of who's with what organizations or what. But anyway, so I listened to that one. It's like an hour and a half. Like I say, it's a little. You have to be wanting to listen to it. It's not quite Sigma Giat bullshit, but it's pretty close. Skibbity. It's not quite skibbity, but it's pretty freaking close to being skibbity. Yeah, joking, but saying jokes about shit that I don't have any idea what they're talking about. Like, it's like I say, it's like three steps away from skibbity gat, whatever those words are. Let's see. So next we get to Gun Owners Radio on Sundays. San Diego Gun Owners host a show. This all happens kind of at the same. Well, no, I don't know when their show happens. It happens at the same time as Sheep Fires, though. So at some point you got to listen to both. Or I usually just listen to Sheep Fires and then remember that Gun Owners Radio is on. Then we had Edgar from Guns for Everyone. Actually happened while me and Tony were live, so they corked us for some reason. It was worth listening to. Edgar's all over the place, and I don't know. I think these guys knew him, but they didn't. I never had him on before, so they edited every time they sweared. So that's kind of interesting to listen to. I mean, I can't imagine how often I swear because I don't pay attention, but I'm pretty sure Edgar swears more than me. Another one with S2. Then we get to Sunday. Normally Saturday, but this week Sunday. Suicide Prevention Saturday was on. She had, Georgia on from Sandy's Candles or something like that. And pretty cool conversation about someone who had nothing to do with guns, but someone who found a love of I think entrepreneurialism, or maybe the right word, running a business, whatever that's called. And what turned out to be just a inexpensive DIY project turned into a gift that she felt obligated to follow up with. She made a candle once, and then somebody bought her some makings to make more candles. So she felt obligated to continue doing that, and it ended up turning into a pretty massive situation. It sounds like they're a supplier for Walmart online and going through swimming pools worth of wax every so often. So, a massive operation. So it's interesting to listen to, and a lot of it, pivoted around a customer who had said that she was interested in a certain scented candle and that she has difficult finding them, and she saw that this candle wasn't the smell that she was looking for, the scent that she was looking for, and that anyway, sort of an ultimatum, like, hopefully this candle works because I'm out of options. And turned out that the candle did give her a relief from the constant awareness of the issue she was dealing with. And that changed her around, and that inspired the company to continue doing its thing. So really interesting conversation. Thanks to Brooke for having stuff like that on, to bring people on from different perspectives, from different life's paths, I guess. And was definitely an hour worth listening to. And then me and Tony, like I say, did like 3 hours. I think that's it though. So with that, we'll wrap up the show. I guess I could go over to gun calendars, but honestly, I've been busy this week, and I probably could continue to be busy here. I still have a couple hours before the day rolls over. And to be honest, we're not getting a lot of feedback. We are getting some feedback. Guns and Water, thank you. Crump was out there earlier. Woods, thanks again for being part of the show. And dang, was that it tonight? Yeah, 3 people. So I don't mind doing the show for 3 people. Most of the people listen to this as a podcast. It is more fun, though, when it's an interactive conversation. So, my co-host, he never says nothing. He just sits here panting most of the time. But you are able, if you want, to wiggle your fingers. That'll make words happen. I'm able to interpret the words, make voices on this side. And then it's almost like we're actually using the internet as its interactive nature instead of just using it as a fancy way for me to disseminate my programming to y'all, which is no fun. They shouldn't be programmed. And you can step outside of the socio dang, I forgot the name of that. But anyway, you can step outside the role of just being audience and actually be participatory in stuff. At least the stuff I make is designed to be like that. So I'll continue to let people know that's an option, but of course you're not required. So we'll end it so that we can I can stop saying stuff and I can get back to work. Thanks to our Patreons that make it possible for me to spend the time on this. I would seriously not be doing it for my health because it's just getting to be weird with nobody saying anything. I shouldn't say nobody, but you know what I mean. Just a couple of y'all saying anything, and that's what I'm looking for in a show. So I would not be doing this if it wasn't for Patreons. They do enjoy this, so I'm happy to keep a. What am I trying to do? Get rid of this? Yeah, I'm happy to keep a focus on what's going on. I'm going to be doing that anyway. Essentially, most of the time I record it and then distribute that around. I'm happy to do it. Thanks to the Patreons to make it possible, keeping the servers online and the stuff running. I'm going to take a look. Oh, I lost that thing I was thinking about getting. I went a little bit higher than I'd want to pay. Oh, I got that though. That's what I wanted, and I got that, and I got that. So the only things I really wanted, yeah, could have got that. But I did good. I'm pretty happy with what I got on my auction while the show was going. Again, nobody's saying anything, so I'm looking out of here. Let's see. Oh, you know what I need to do first? Brooke has already posted. What are you doing? What are you doing? What? Hold on, I gotta see what they're doing. Something bad's happening. Why are you inside? And what are you doing down here making all that noise? I thought they had gotten into some food, but it turns out he's just being bad in a different way. Guns and Water's still out there. Just got back to the truck. Right on. Well, hope you'll have a good night. I'm going to take a second here to open everything up on my side so that I can attach Brooke Cheney's show to this show. I guess I could do that in front of everybody. So essentially, you're going to go to your YouTubes. Yeah, it's a fun place to go. Eventually, my computer will catch up with us. And I'll zoom out a little bit. All right, so we're going to go to YouTube. I think the easiest way to do it is to go down to my subscriptions. Because I watch that show every week, it's right at the top of my subscriptions. And when you go to the live tab on somebody's channel, that'll show you their upcoming shows. And this one has already been posted, so I can grab the URL and then we can open this show, the show that we're watching right now, on that tab. And once that opens, we'll get a little bit of weird audio feedback. Oh, my computer's dropping out. Wow. 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 Oh, now it's going to disconnect completely. So that's messed up. Here's who I blame for this. 1, Alec Baldwin. 2, 9mm. 3, mayonnaise. All of them were together working against this show. And that's why the internet went bad and I couldn't use my mouse and a bunch of other things happened to me. I was an innocent victim in this whole thing. So now I'm going to attempt to do what I was trying to do before, which is to cram this show into smash this show up into Rick Cheney's show tomorrow so that the momentum of 8 people still watching will flood that show. Let's see, I just have to figure out 100 other windows to open here to get to where I was before I had to restart my computer. So again, Alec Baldwin, 9mm, mayonnaise. If you put that into a computer robot brain and tell it to come up with a funny story, what do you think it would come up with? Well, it would say, I cannot make fun of Alec Baldwin. That would not be right. And we'll say something like that. So if you say somebody like Alec Baldwin, 9mm, and mayonnaise. What the hell is that noise? I thought Mello was inside. He's inside. Who's outside? What are you doing? Hey. What were you doing? He stuck his foot on something that's got a sticker on it. So he's running around like one of them cats when you stick a sticker on their foot. Except he's a boy and he's a dog. And it's funny because he shouldn't be that upset by it. All right. What am I looking for? I am looking for Brooke Show. I got to find it over here. She posted it too long ago. There. Nope. Dang it. There we go. Click on live. Well, I guess I'm not doing this on the screen anymore. Somewhere around having to restart my computer, I decided to not do it on screen anymore. But on Tuesdays, we get together and we chat about alternatively Second Amendment activism, and alternatively every other week, we chat about 2A media workshop. So if you're going to be working on 2A in some capacity and you'd like some insight, some help, some direction, some motivation, some coaching, then join us on Tuesdays. Bring your questions, your concerns, your issues, and we'll do our best to offer some insight and give you resources, people, and others things that might make it more possible for you to do what you're looking to do. All right, with that being said, we just posted a link to Suicide Prevention Saturday, which will be happening in about 19 hours. It's 6 p.m. Well, let's see, that would be 9 p.m. Eastern tomorrow. All right, so thanks everybody for joining who did join us live, especially those who participated. If you didn't, we know you're out there because we see numbers. The internet tells us you're out there. If you're listening to this in a podcast, you're listening to us in the time shift of the future, which is fine. We are okay with the future folks listening to this. In fact, we encourage it. Most of the listens will be in the future. But what we do ask, big ask, go wherever you listen to your podcast and give us a thumb up or a like or a heart or a plus or whatever it happens to be, because that interaction with the mechanism is really useful. So I wouldn't keep bugging you about it if it wasn't so useful. But it allows us to get more reach. It allows those mechanisms, those platforms to recommend the show, because whatever it is that you listen to, it hears you recommend it like, oh, I like this. And then it goes, okay, we know what this person likes. Next person that comes along and says, what should I listen to? Or essentially just exists and they're trying to recommend stuff to them. That's when the mechanism kicks in and goes, oh, well, guess what? They liked this. So maybe there's a chance you're going to like this. So essentially you're, for people like you, you're helping spread the word. And that's means a lot, because I'm not paying for that. I wouldn't want to, and I wouldn't be able to. It costs too much. So I'd rather it go organically anyway. I'd rather find people that actually are interested in getting stuff done, whether rolling up your sleeves and doing it yourselves or participating in people that do. But I've been doing stuff online since 2015, and it's way more fun to do stuff online than to watch other people do stuff online. So I appreciate it all, y'all, for being here. And hold on, because it's about to get even better. We just killed a whole bunch of more bills this month. So there's only so many more bills left, and then it's better watch out. So we'll throw a couple of commercials up here. If you're a capitalist, you appreciate what we're doing over here, then jump on board. You can be a Patreon. That's easy. And throw a cup of coffee at us each month, a box of ammo, buy us lunch, whatever it is you want to think of it as. But essentially, a bunch of people throw $7 at us each month, maybe 20. A couple of people throw 20 at us. That accumulates, and it pays for 3 servers. It pays for a bunch of software, and my inclination to do this, because it's not that much money anymore compared to where I was before. So if I had my way, I would have just burned through right now doing work. But I got Patreons, so I'm super happy to come over here and work on this. So you're essentially Patreons or capitalists paying me to spend some time on this. But we're going to be growing. We're about to go into season 10. We're about to hit episode 2000 of this show. Think about that. Episode 2000 of this show. Let's see. We're at 1795. I guess we're about to hit 1800. But anyway, we're getting close to 2000. But I'm thinking about flipping it over to season 10 already. So knife show soon? Nah. I don't know. I only have like 6 or 8 knives that are in the knife pile anymore, and everybody weeded through all the good ones. And I haven't brought. The problem is the ones I'm buying and keeping. I haven't really bought a bunch of knives that are extras yet. But I do have to do other stuff on Whatnot, so the knives will be there. But I'm not going to do a Whatnot knife show. I only do the knife shows because Whatnot said to. They were like, "Hey, we're going to do a knife weekend. So if you do a knife show, we're going to promote it." So I was like, "Oh, okay. That's like, my tiny little channel is going to get some extra promotion. I'll participate. I got to sell these knives anyway." And I don't know if it worked or not. We sold most of them that Saturday. There was like 10 or something, so I didn't have that many anyway. What was the BK wife guy's knife earlier? Oh, knife. The BK knife guy's knife? Are we talking about that? Hold on. Are we talking about from Instagram? That's where I've been posting most of the knife pictures. So in other words, I'll be doing more Whatnots. I have to. I have to figure out. I think I figured out a good system. I can not look at my messages while I'm on here. I always forget about that. Are you talking about this one? The Ukraine knife? Isn't that sweet? I was just minding my business, and they were like, "Hey, you want to look at our knives?" And I was like, "Hell yeah, I want to look at your knives." So I gave them a list of like 100, and they sent me this one, but I'll take it. It's got like a purple grip. I'm keeping it because it's the only one I got, but if they start sending me a bunch, I don't need to keep every one, so I'll get rid of the other ones as they come in. You know what I did get? I got this. Gizzard's always giving away a knife all the time. Anybody can give away a knife, but has Gizzard ever given away one of these? Boom. Turn it on down here. Watch all my dogs leave. I don't know if you can hear that on the microphone or not. That's weird. Oh, you know what we'll do? I'll put this little baggie on here. Oh, I'll get it on. is that? They accidentally sent me 2 of these, so unless they have a fit about it, I'm going to give one away. If anybody's interested. So you know how you have canned air to blow off your keyboard or whatever. This is a small airplane engine. It's essentially all aluminum, and then this part is aluminum, and it's super heavy. It's super heavy. This whole bottom part is a battery. It plugs into USB-C right here. And I played with it 4 times, and the battery's almost dead. So it's definitely, I don't want to say overkill, because depending on what you're trying to, if you're trying to blow sawdust off of a drill press or something, pretty cool, huh? I was thinking about getting one of those can air dies. Are you talking about this thing? I'm going to give one of these away. I got this one, and I played with it. And then I got one over here that they sent me accidentally. They sent me 2. So I was like, well, then if you don't care, I'm going to give it away. And unless they care, then I'm going to give it away. I'm going to give them a minute to reply to me or whatever. So I got to figure out how to give it away. But that ain't no light. I don't think this is worth all that much. I think it's like $40 or something. Or wait, maybe it's more than that. I don't know. I don't remember. But zap it. This is how you find out how much something costs. You get yourself a telephone, like this telephone right here. That's one of my pictures of the puppy when he was doing some operations. And then you open up your Amazon app, right? And then when you get to your Amazon app, looks like this. You click up here on that little thing. And now it turns into robot eyeball. And then you zap the thing you're worried about. Ideally on a contrasting color. So I zapped it, and now the robot's gonna see what it is. Boom. So it's $59. I think it's that one. No, it's not. Probably that one. I think I got that one. Oh shit! If it's that one, then it's a $79 one. Because it doesn't have a lightning bolt on the button. The button on this one is on the bottom. That one has some kind of lightning bolt on the side. So I think it is the $79 one right here. Look at that. I'll be giving away a $79 thing that's a replacement for canned air. This one is definitely a replacement for canned air. This one you could go outside and blow leaves around with. Like I said, I think this one would be good in a shop. The only issue is on this side, that's all there is. I would put maybe like a piece of cotton or something in here, because I was farting around with it and I ended up getting a bunch of dog hair in here. Because I got dog hair. It turns out I have dog hair floating around in here. But yeah, this thing is awesome because this laptop, the reason it's orange is because I keep having to take it apart because it's a bad design. The fans are underneath the keyboard behind here, and dog hair gets in here and clogs up them fans. So I keep having to open it up and take it apart and swap out the fans. And so I use this canned air all the time to blow that dog hair out of there, because I don't know how that dog hair gets everywhere. Yeah, we'll be doing Ask Gun Questions if Tony's around. I'm pretty sure he said he's going to be around. All right, well, do I have an Amazon link? It's $79, so I don't know unless you really want to pay $79 for it. I mean, yes, I can get you an Amazon link for it, but I've only owned it for like a week, so I'm not going to say it's stop everything and go grab this thing for $79. I'm not going to say that. I'm trying to find when I even made that video. I think it's been a while. 3 or 4 days for me is a lot of videos, so I'm going to scroll back a little bit. Maybe I could put blower in here. Let's see, I can turn this off, I guess. I'm just trying to find the link. I do have the link for that knife too, if anybody wants, because that is available on Amazon also. There it is. That took a while. This is that blower if anybody wants it. You can check out the video over there. And then that knife was just a day or two before. Actually, there's 2 videos for that blower, and they make a Oreo cookie around that knife. So Anyway, so thanks for joining us, and we have a little extra bonus footage at the end there that only the people that are watching and the people that are in the podcast and anybody that watches this after the fact are the only people that are going to know about the extra stuff that happened. But I think I was saying, though, if you want to participate in what we got going on here financially as a capitalist, you know what I'm talking about, then there's a couple ways you can do it. I was talking about being a Patreon. Thanks for that, for the people that are. They make it possible for us to do this. And then the other way to do it is to go buy something from the store. And somebody actually bought something from they bought it from eBay. Technically, it was from the store, kind of. But I was going to say somebody bought a patch for the first time in a long time. They bought it off of eBay. But if you want to go grab something from the store, here's a little bit of information about it.
GearWebsites.com is your source for firearms-based playing cards and books. We also have mugs, shirts, and posters with designs that we've made live. Of course, we have patches. Every Friday is Free Patch Friday. We appreciate your support. Thank you for shopping at GearWebsites.com.
Look who comes back when he hears the commercial. So it's either he thinks the show's starting or he knows it's ending. But whenever the commercial plays, he runs up here and sits here because he's a good co-host. A lot of people would say, you shouldn't have that dog on there. He's not even a good co-host. But he's miserable. He's super hot, and he's upset because he hasn't been fed enough today. He only went out to a certain number of places today, and he probably could have gone to more places. He only smelled a certain number of dogs today, and he could have smelled even more. So all of that is on his poor little mind, and he decided to jump up here and finish the show with us. So I'm going to say good boy. And then I'm going to do another commercial for another show that happens just before this one on Fridays.
This is Earl Benson reporting from downtown Topeka, where Gizzard Gary is rampaging through the city. Authorities have asked the public to stay indoors. They believe he will tire soon and need a nap. Gizzard Gary can normally be seen on Foul Territory Friday nights at 7 p.m. Central. Wednesday, 8 p.m. for the channel members chat. Stay safe and give him the bird. Earl Benson signing off.
All right, I got to go turn some music on or something. Those crickets are driving me nuts.